card review, and today we're starting with Lady Liadrin, 7 mana 4/6 legendary minion for Paladin, with a battle cry that says add a copy of each spell you cast on friendly characters this game to your hand. I feel like Blizzard is trying to introduce a more control type Paladin, more late game. I'm honestly super tired of Mech Paladin. Honestly, super tired. A lot of value generation with this card, and this card synergizes really well with the new Paladin Libram cards that we're gonna see right now. So for me, super solid, super control, value generation, good card overall for Paladin. It gets 4 stars. The next card we're gonna see is the Libram of Wisdom. 2 mana rare card for Paladin that says give a minion +1/+1 and Death Rattle, add a Libram of Wisdom spell to your hand. This card is basically Explorer's Hat for Hunter, if anyone remembers that card. It's basically give 1/1 when the minion dies, get the card back, continue. So it's basically never ending value generation as long as you do not get silenced. I feel like it's a really good card, especially for Paladin. Really easy way to buff your tiny 1/1 paladins. Overall, really good card, really solid, gets 3 stars. The next card is Libram of Justice. 6 mana common card for Paladin. Equip a 1/4 weapon, change the health of all enemy minions to 1. So basically, this is an equality. Equality was 4 mana. Difference is equality changed the health of all minions to 1. This changes only that of enemy minions, which is a bit better. Plus a 1/4 weapon. Again, I don't really think this is the best form of removal, because just changing your enemy's minions to 1 doesn't take away the attack total. So if it's a 6/1 remain, you still have to punch into it with the 1 attack weapon, taking 6 damage. Doesn't feel the best. You can kind of try and combine this with a Consecration and try and get a 10 mana board clear. All in all, I feel like this might be the weakest of the Librams. So for me, this card gets 3 stars. Finally, we have the Libram of Hope. 9 mana that says 9 mana epic paladin card that says restore 8 health and summon an 8/8 guardian with taunt and divine shield. For me, this just sounds super strong. If you think of something like the Hidden Oasis for Druid, 6 mana spell, you can either summon a 6/6 with taunt or restore 12 health. This is definitely better. And as you're gonna see, Paladin have gotten easy ways to reduce the cost of this Librams, and you can play this for as cheap as 5 mana. So 5 mana, restore 8 health, gain 8/8 with taunt and divine shield is honestly amazing. For me, this card gets 4 stars. Next, we have the Aldor Attendant. 2 mana, 2/3 common paladin card with a battle cry that reads reduce the cost of your Librams by 1 this game. So this is what we're talking about. Good early game, you reduce the cost of those Librams that you're gonna create so much value for in the future. If you throw 2 of this in your deck, even cheaper for the Librams. Good tiny solid card. For me, it gets 3 stars. Next, we have the Aldor Truthseeker. 5 mana 4/6 rare paladin card with taunt and battle cry that reads reduce the cost of your Librams by 2 this game. So this is a card that really shows how much Blizzard is trying to push this new archetype by giving it cost and the ability to reduce the Librams by 2. If you have 2 of this, you can reduce Librams by 4, which is crazy. Libram of Justice can go down to 2 mana. Libram of Wisdom is 0. Libram of Hope can come down to 5, which is crazy. This card is really good, really solid, and for that reason, this card gets 4 stars. Next, we have Nagrand Slam. 10 mana epic spell for Hunter that says summon 4 3/5 cleft hoofs that attack random enemy minions. First of all, this card just looks crazy, looks amazing. I feel like Hunter are getting really good cards this expansion. This is basically an improved Call of the Wild, where in Call of the Wild only a halfer could attack the same turn for 5 attack. This card you get 12 attack randomly split across the board. or in case your opponent doesn't have any minions, 12 damage can actually go to the face. So technically a little bit better than Pyroblast. So this card kind of feels like you could actually bring back the only Spell Hunter with cards like Rock Dala and Zul'jin. So super fun. This card gets 4 stars. Next we have Germination, 4 mana rare card for Druid that summons a copy of a friendly minion and gave the copy taunt. So we've seen cards like this before in Hearthstone with things like Faceless Manipulator, 5 mana neutral card that copies any card your opponent plays, any minion, which could slightly be better than this because this only copies friendly minions. And something like Sudden Genesis, 5 mana warrior card that copies all your damage and minions. So again, this card to me is only good if you're ahead on board already. Because otherwise, you need to play this on turn 10, with the biggest thing being like a 6 mana minion, copy it, give it taunt. Otherwise, if you play this a turn later, someone might have traded into your 12-12. Now it's a 12-4. Don't really want a 12-4 taunt. So it is a good card, slightly average. For that reason, gets 3 stars. Next we have Ysiel Windsinger, 9 mana, 5/5 legendary minion for Druid that says your spells cost 1. I have seen a lot of hype surrounding this card, talking about how it's gonna break Maliagos and stuff. I mean, it's a pretty cool card. Reminds me of Aviana, the 10 mana card where your minions cost 1. Had real good synergy with things like Kun, the Forgotten King, where you could just go crazy for 10 mana, just put a big board. But for this, I'm not very optimistic about it because Druid doesn't have super crazy big spells apart from Ultimate Infestation. So I don't really see how this could be super board swingy and super overpowering. I guess in some turns, but all in all, I don't really see it being meta defining per se, and for that reason, this card gets 3 stars. Next, we have Sethekk Veilweaver, 2 mana, 2/3 epic card for Priest. After you cast a spell on a minion, add a Priest spell to your hand. This card basically is like Lyra the Sunshine, 5 mana legendary minion for Priest. Only difference is Lyra was a card generation tool that uses any spells. This card needs spells that targets minions. That's the only downside to this card. Um, you basically can't play this card in tempo. This card has to be late game. And then card value generation for cards that only cast on minions might not be that good or that many, and there'll be times where you just get one spell and you can't cast it because it's like maybe a board removal or something like a master spell, and then you can't continue generating cards with this. So for that reason, this card gets 3 stars. Next we have Mok'nathal Lion, another card I really love. 4 mana, 5/2 rare card for Hunter with Rush and Battle Cry. Choose a friendly minion, gain a copy of its Death Rattle. This card really reminds me of Nala from The Lion King, first of all. Plus, I love that it has 5 attack for a rush minion and it copies a death rattle. With things like rat packs, you basically get 5 rats off this. Something like Savannah Hymen, which you can use in the same turn, you get 2 hyenas after a clean trade. And something like the new card we're about to see, Zixor Apex Predator. If you copy that death rattle where you get Apex Prime, that's just super crazy, super amazing, good for the mid game. This card gets 4 stars. Next we have Imprisoned Felmaw, 2 mana, 5/4 common demon for Hunter that is dormant for 2 turns. When it awakens, attack a random enemy. If you've seen my videos before, you know I'm not a big fan of the new dormant mechanic. I don't like doing nothing for 2 turns. Plus, when this card activates, it attacks a random enemy. Again, I don't like that unpredictability. You can just trade to a 1/1 or something tiny. So I don't really like the loss of tempo on this card. It does have good stats for a 2 minion, 5/4, but I don't think it's very playable, and for that reason, this card gets 2 stars. Next, we have the Apexis Smuggler. 2 mana, 2/3 epic card for Mage. After you play a secret, discover a spell. I really like this card. I really like the discover mechanic and the value generation in these types of cards. Secret Mage is really strong, and it's something, especially if you play Wild, you'll come across it a lot. And sometimes secret mage just kind of needs something to push them forward, discovering a spell, maybe some burn damage, maybe even another secret just to keep this going would be pretty good. It has decent stats, 2 mana, 2/3. For that reason, this card gets 4 stars. Next, we have Apexis Blast. 5 mana, epic spell for mage, deal 5 damage. If your deck has no minions, summon a random 5 cost minion. So as we can see, it seems like Blizzard are trying to introduce a new no minion archetype for mage, which, I mean, mage do have a lot of spells, can be done, but I don't really think it would be that good because mages have a lot of minions that kind of help the spells become better. This reminds me of a card called Fireland's Portal, 7 mana, basically does the same thing but with no condition, which for me is a lot better. So for that reason, this card gets 3 stars. Next, we have Cain Sun Fury. 4 mana, 3/5 with charge, and all friendly attacks ignore taunt. Another card I've seen that has built a lot of hype around it, which for me, I don't really feel the same. It's a cool card. We haven't seen charge in a while, but to me, I don't think it's really that good. For you to, for this card to work, it means you need to already be ahead, need to already be winning. You need a board that is then going to ignore the taunt minions that your opponents plays, correct? So for me, something like a master spell does the same thing. It's a spell, it's cheaper. This card has 3 attack. For a charge minion, I don't really like that. I'd prefer if it was like a 5/3. 5 attack for charge is a lot better than 3. So for me, this card isn't as good. I don't think is as good as people are hyping it up to be, and for that reason, it gets 3 stars. Next, we have Evocation. 1 mana legendary spell for mage. Fill your hand with random mage spells at the end of your turn. Discard them. This is another card where I feel like people might be overhyping it because this is a card where you don't really want it in your starting hand because you're not gonna play it. You need it when you have an empty board, empty hand, or when you're running low on resources. So this for me is a late game card. It's basically when you're looking for a finisher, looking for burn. It'd be really good in fast decks, something like Secret Mage. The downside with this is that many mage spells are quite expensive. So if, for example, you get a Pyroblast, you can't use it at the same time because it's 10 mana. So you'll end up getting maybe 3 tiny spells that you can use in the same turn and burning the rest. So I feel like this card is kind of like Solarium. Solarium is a bit worse because you discard cards that you had. But for me, you'd rather just play Zephyrs instead and try and find lethal that way. So for that reason, this card gets 3 stars. Next, we have Augmented Porcupine. 3 mana, 2/4 epic card for Hunter with a death rattle that reads: deal this minion's attack damage randomly split among all enemies. Another super mediocre card for me. This card reminds me of I think it was the Stampeding Kodo or some Kodo with the 2/4, same stats, but it was a battle cry instead, where you deal 2 damage to a minion. Dealing 2 damage split doesn't feel that strong. You could buff this card, but again, it's definitely not worth it. This card would be pretty okay in arena or with if you got it off the Death Knight. So for that reason, this card gets 2 stars. Next, we have Beastmaster Leoroxx. 8 mana, 5/5. Summon 3 beasts from your hand. Another super epic card for Hunter. Hunter is just gonna be super annoying this expansion, man. Summoning 3 beasts something like summoning a King Crash would just feel amazing with a Savannah Hyman or something else super crazy big. I feel like this card has a lot of potential. Maybe some OTKs. People will love this card. Um, this if you think about something like Dino Tamer Brand, 7 mana, summon a King Crash, which people love. It's already solid. This could be an amazing follow up to that. So for me, this is a really good card, and for that reason, it gets 5 stars. Next, we have Zixor, Apex Predator, 3 mana, 2/4 with Rush, and a Death Rattle. Shuffle Zixor Prime into your deck. From face value, a Rush card with 2 attack isn't the best. Would be better if it was a 4/2. But the point of this prime cards is what they can do after they die. So it's decent for the early game, but Zixor Prime is 8 mana 4/4 with Rush. Summon 3 copies of this minion. So basically you get 4/4s with a Rush. That's basically 8 mana 16/16 with Rush if you think about it, which is crazy already. And with the new cards like Scavenger's Ingenuity, give a Beast +3/+3. If that hits this and it draws you this, you basically get 8 mana 7/7 with Rush, which is just insane. 8 mana 28/28 with Rush. Get out of here, man. Come on, this card gets 5 stars. Next, we have Akama, 3 mana, 3/4 legendary for Rogue with Stealth and Death Rattle. Shuffle Akama Prime into your deck. So it has okay stats for a 3 mana card. Same with the other previous cards. We are here for the Death Rattle. One plus about this card I like is for the class, you could easily cheat out more cards or get more copies of this with things like Sonya Shadow Dancer, the Anath Raptor, or the Kobold Illusionist, and just have like a really cool Akama type archetype for Rogue. But its prime card is a 6 mana 6/5 permanently stealth, which just sounds crazy. I don't think we've seen this mechanic before, apart from like some solo mode adventures. But yeah, super super crazy if you think about it. But again, I feel like you have to be ahead on board already. You don't need to be chasing the game because then Akama Prime will just be used to like take trades, and that's not what you want for this card. You want this to hit face, hide again until you just overwhelm your opponent. You could get more copies of this with things like Togwaggle Scheme. All in all, I feel like it's a bit weaker compared to some of the prime cards we've seen, and for that reason, this gets 4 stars. Next, we have Astromancer Solarian, 2 mana, 3/2 legendary minion for Mage with spell damage +1 and Death Rattle. Shuffle Solarian Prime into your deck. So this card is very playable. We've seen cards like this before. Mages love spell damage, solid stats, but the prime card is a 7 mana 7/7 spell damage +1. Battle Cry, cast 5 random mage spells, target enemies if possible. Solid stats. Spell damage is amazing, and spells that do not hit your face, that is basically just a tiny Yorg with good aim. A marine Yorg. Come on, that is amazing. That's crazy. This could easily find you lethal resource generators, board clears. This is a solid card for Mage, and for that reason, this card gets 5 stars. Next, we have Shadow Jeweler Hanar, 2 mana 1/5 legendary minion for Rogue. After you play a secret, discover a secret from a different class. This is basically Blizzard trying to bring in the secret archetype for Rogue with a new secret ambush, which you can easily play hand in hand with the Blackjack Stunner. It's a good engine generator, and plus the other classes do have better secrets than this. Downside to this, you can't play this on curve. This has to be more of like a late game. For that reason, this card gets 4 stars. Next, we have Marsh Hydra 7/7 Epic Beast for Druid with a Rush. After this attacks, add a random A-class minion to your hand. I honestly love this card. I love big beasts. I love that it is in a Druid class. The fact that it has Rush makes it even better. So for me, it's great tribe, being a beast, amazing value generator, get something to play the next turn. can easily fit in the OG Quest Druid. This card will be crazy good in Arena. I like this card already. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Finally, our last card for today is the Underlight Angling Rod. 3 mana, 3/2 epic weapon for Paladin. After your hero attacks, add a random Malok to your hand. I don't think this is gonna be that good because random Maloks aren't the best. I mean, the Malok pool is super big, but it's super trash as well. It would make more sense for you just to put a better Malok for 3 mana or just put a better weapon. So for me, this card gets 2 stars. As always, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.